My name's Julie Southgate. The company is TMAC Wireless Solutions, and we've been in the industry since very early 2000s. About 2001 is when we started. We're independent, and I see us as genuinely independent. The long-term relationship to us is more important than the commission that comes in on a particular deal. What's most important to me is, am I still going to have that customer in 12 months' time, 24 months' time, 36 months' time? So it's the long-term relationship that we look to foster, and it works. So I have no allegiance to one network over and above another, genuinely. And that gives us the ability to have, or to give truly independent advice. And that means that our customers are loyal to us.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for joining us today. So my first question, how long have you been in the industry? Don't mind me asking.
No, it's fine. Coming up to about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So we were in the industry when everybody was saying, it's got to be a Nokia. And we were still in the industry when everybody was saying, last thing I want is a Nokia. And then when everybody was saying, who is Nokia? So a while.
Yeah, that's seen some change.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
So the evolution of data, smartphones, kind of working through all of that.
Yeah, we've been through all of that. So we've been through the call center style selling, where everybody was looking at having the latest phone on the cheapest contract, but with no understanding really of what they were getting, because phones did one thing really, and that was, or two things. They made phone calls, they sent text messages. And then moving into when the market opened up with BlackBerry, then Apple and Samsung.
Yeah, definite shift. The battle of the smartphones.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
So in that time then, so how long have you been with Mdee?
We must have been with Mdee, it's got to be about 10 years, I would guess. It might even be a bit longer than that.
Okay.
I would say about, yeah, there or thereabouts, probably about 10 years.
Fantastic. And what do they, I know it can sound like a loaded question, but what do they do for you?
Okay, so the most important thing these days, and I used to be in the position where I was with certain distributors purely because I'd been with them a while, or they were the distributor that had annoyed me the least most recently. That was why I was with them at one point. The reason I'm with Mdee now is pretty much down to the account manager that I've got, and the support team that she's then got behind her. In that, I know as soon as I've asked her to do something, whatever that thing happens to be, I can forget about it until she comes back to me. I haven't even got to remind myself to remind her or to chase it. I know it comes back, and it comes back in a time frame that I'll be happy with. So as soon as I've done it, it's off my plate until it comes back in with the next thing that I need to do. And it's the ability to rely on somebody as if they were one of my employees.
Oh, wow. So like a proper extension of your team then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely.
Fab. If you don't mind me asking, who is this account manager? Got to ask.
Kerry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So what kind of things?
Don't spread her too thin now, will you?
Again.
Don't spread her too thin now, and give her to loads of other people as well.
No, we'll promise she continues to look after you.
Fab, thank you.
So to give us an idea then, if other resellers are kind of looking at Mdee, what kind of specific help do the team give your team? What kind of things do they do? So carrying a team, what do they do on a day-to-day basis for you?
It's a really hard one to answer, because the answer in truth is they will do everything to a greater or lesser extent exactly as I need it. So I've got quite a small team here that deals with the dealership side. And because we work with other distributors as well for other networks, there's a lot to know on different systems. And at times there'll be something you think, I haven't got time to even think how to do that on the Mdee system. So in that case, then Kerry or one of Kerry's team will just take it off me, do it, and hand it back. So it's very personal the service that they offer and saying what do they do, it is literally everything at times. And to be fair, if I'm going to mention names, then Steph, the girl in your commissions team, is also best person I've dealt with on the finance side. Answers that I want quickly, I get quickly, which I don't get from other distributors, but I do get from Mdee.
Fantastic. Okay. So right the way through from sort of stacking deals, discount approvals.
Yeah, and realistic answers. So realistic answers that are, can I expect to get this on this stack? We can ask, you've probably got an 80% chance of getting that one. So giving me a good idea of something, giving me a good interpretation or an opinion on something without necessarily waiting for the cut and dried answer. So dealing with a human being at the end of the conversation really helps.
Yeah.
As opposed to, there'll be other distributors that I deal with who will give the right answer, which is, I'll go away and find out for you. But I've learned nothing in that interim period. Whereas when I deal with the guys at Mdee, or when I deal with my account manager at Mdee, I've usually got a pretty good answer on what's going to happen, on what it will be, even if I then can't find out officially for 48 hours. Yeah.
Okay. So to give us an idea then, so what kind of value would you put on that in terms of that support?
I'm going to be recorded saying that's priceless now, aren't I? Which I don't want to say.
The guys can edit. The guys can edit if you like.
That bit. It's hugely valuable. There really isn't another way to put it. It's. I would obviously always want Mdee to be there or thereabouts on their price book, but there would be some room for manoeuvre, I suppose, because that level of service is really important. It enables me to give much better service to my customers.
Yeah,
I can be the human being that I want to be when I'm talking to them, because I'm getting a human being answer my questions at distributor level.
Okay, so that
which you can't do. Yeah, it really does. Yeah. Yeah, my customers, I mean, we obviously take on new customers all the time, but we've also got a backbone of customers that have been with us for 10, 15, 18 years, and they're still with us because of the level of service we give them. And I'm enabled to give that level of service because of the service I'm getting from Mdee.
Fantastic. That was a question I was going to ask you, actually. It's like, so having that support team in the background, what does it enable you to focus on?
It enables me to focus on my primary objective, which is to go out, see my customers and sell them the next solution that they require, whatever that happens to be. It enables me to concentrate on the sales side without having to think about processes and procedures. That can be dealt with back here. I can, if needs be, if I'm busy, I can go and see a 100 handset client, sell what I need to sell to them, and then literally throw it over my shoulder to my account manager at Mdee and run on to the next one if I'm busy. It's not always the way it works, but it is sometimes.
Yeah, it sounds like a real streamlined kind of support team that is just,
yeah,
it enables you to sell, enables you to do your business, right? Which is,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So how knowledgeable would you say they are when it comes to EE? How knowledgeable are Mdee about EE?
Superb in that their knowledge is warts and all knowledge. So they know the things that they should know, and they can pre-warn you of scenarios that may happen. They might not always necessarily agree with, or they might wish were done in a different way, but it's a proper warts and all knowledge.
Fab. And how does that translate for you? How does that make your business easier to deal with?
Because it allows you to have the right expectations at every level, at every stage of a sales process. So I'm never in front of a customer promising something that I can't deliver.
Why?
And that's really important, because it then gives you credibility. The last thing you ever want to do is over-promise and under-deliver.
Yeah.
So yeah, the warts and all knowledge is really important, actually.
Okay. And what about support then to win deals? So we mentioned discount approvals and stuff earlier. What about incentives or support to window? What do they do there for you?
They always keep me abreast of the offers that are there from the network at any given time. They do give support if the network has fallen slightly shy of where I need to be on some deals. If there's a reason for needing something and you can see that it stacks up, but the network can't see it, then there's usually some room for manoeuvre from Mdee in between to make something work. And pointing out things that are happening that I may not always have time to proactively look at. So when the price book comes out, I'm not going to read it from cover to cover to look for changes. I rely on Kerry to phone me and say, have you seen, did you know, try this.
Yeah, okay. Fab.
And that works well.
Yeah, okay. So how important would you say they are?
My highlighter pen.
Yeah, yeah, you got to love a highlighter, right?
Yeah.
So how important would you say they are in terms of revenue to your business?
Yeah, obviously very important. I mean, it's the revenue coming in, the commissions coming in is the lifeblood of the business. And they've clearly done well, because initially I used to be predominantly an O2 dealer. It wasn't O2 exclusively, but we were predominantly O2 with some Vodafone thrown on and a bit of EE thrown on. And we're reasonably even now between all the networks. We've got other routes to market as well as the distributors, but it's reasonably even, and that's testament to how Mdee have dealt with the account, that they've gradually grown it and drawn business over to the EE network.
Yeah, I think that's a really fair summary. When you look at Orange and T-Mobile weren't necessarily the business networks where they started off, so. And
they weren't geared towards it either. They were very much geared towards the consumer, and trying to force that network down the business route was hard work. And as a dealer, I'm busy. There was easier products to sell. Yeah. So I did.
Yeah, cinema tickets weren't going to help the business, were they? So in terms of key benefits of a tariff.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a gradual and sustained change.
Yeah. So if there are resellers thinking about that, like you've just said there, that weren't necessarily that big on EE, maybe potentially bigger on O2 and Voda, but they were looking at expanding their EE based stuff, why would they talk to Mdee?
The way they deal with their account and the control they have over their account and their number base is really impressive using GEM. So the fact that any commission queries are auto raised within GEM is quite invaluable, and are constantly raised is quite invaluable as well. So you don't have numbers that slip through the net. And again, it's a side of the business that, of course, we spot check, but it's being dealt with, and it's efficient, and it's a system that works.
So you're really confident that GEM, from an error point of view in terms of commission runs, is extremely accurate?
Yeah, they're proactive on querying issues with the networks, and there's always going to be commission issues with the networks, and they're pretty much never going to be in the dealer's favour. That's probably just luck, luck of the draw. Otherwise, I'm going to sound really cynical. But Mdee are very good at proactively finding those issues, querying those issues, staying on those issues until they're resolved, however long that takes.
Brilliant. Okay, fab. Sounds like great support. So how are they different then to competitor distributors?
Whether they are or not, I don't know, but they come across as a smaller, more manoeuvrable animal. So I don't get the same stock answers that I get from other distributors. I don't get you can't do that. I'll usually get an answer of, let's think how we can do that. They just seem to be more manoeuvrable. Yeah. That's the main difference. And for that reason, the service is much more geared towards what I need, as opposed to, this is the service we offer. How can you gear your business around our service? they gear their service around my business.
Wow.
So it's a different mindset. I don't get the stock answers.
Brilliant. Okay, fab. Well, listen, thank you, Julie, for the conversation and you being so open and honest with me, because there's some real gold in the conversation we've just had. So I really appreciate your time.
Pleasure.